Today, I'm going to share with you the Washington Department of Revenue tax return, also known as the Business and Occupation Tax, or the B&O taxes, or excise tax return. I'm Lily Tran, enrolled agent and the founder of TaxAsign. I specialize in taxes. As an enrolled agent, I can represent taxpayers before the IRS in audit, collection, and appeals. The objective is for you to learn how to set up your Department of Revenue account. Business and Occupation Tax, B&O tax. What is subject to B&O tax? Filing the tax returns, how to file and pay my taxes electronically, 4 payment options, the due dates. If you can't file and pay electronically, penalty if the taxpayers file or pay a return late, penalty waiver, and request a penalty waiver. How to set up a My DOR account. Now, if you register your business in Washington State, you would receive a letter from Department of Revenue. On that letter are very important instructions to set up your account. It will also tell you your file frequency. To set up your account, you go to the dor.wa.gov. You click sign up, you enter your name, your email address, you create your username and password. Once you have your Department of Revenue account set up, this is where you would file your business and occupation tax return. The state B&O tax is a gross receipt tax. It is measured on the value of products, gross proceeds of sale, or gross income of the business. Washington, unlike many other states, does not have income tax. So Washington's B&O tax is calculated on the gross income from activities. This means there are no deductions from the B&O tax for labor, materials, taxes, or other costs of doing business. Washington Department of Revenue looks at your gross income, all the money that you receive from your customers. So what is subject to B&O tax? So this depends on your business activity. Different tax classifications with different rates apply for various business activities. Businesses performing more than one activity may be subject to tax under one or more B&O tax classification. The state B&O tax is reported on the Department of Revenue's excise tax return. And the department assigns a reporting frequency for filing returns based on estimated yearly tax due and the type of business. A business will be required to report on a monthly, quarterly, or annual basis. Filing tax returns. The B&O tax is reported and paid on the excise tax return or by electronic filing. When you're a new business and you register your business with Department of Revenue, you will receive a letter with your UBI and account number and your filing frequency. All business must file and pay their taxes electronically. So how do you file and pay your taxes electronically? When you create your account online, there's a link for you to prepare and file your tax return. There are 4 payment options. If you do decide to pay by credit card, they do charge a 2.5% fee. The due dates for your Department of Revenue tax return, if your filing frequency is monthly, it's due dates. When is your tax return due? If you file monthly, it's due the 25th of every month. For example, the June tax return is due July 25th. If you file quarterly, it's due the end of the month following the tax quarter. For example, quarter 1, January, February, March, tax return is due April 30th. If you file annual, the due date is April 15th for January through December. Now, if the due date falls on the weekend or a legal holiday, the Department of Revenue extends the due date to the next business day. Now, if you can't file and pay electronically, you can request a waiver. Send a written request with the explanation to Electronic Filing and Payment Team, Department of Revenue in Olympia, Washington. Penalty if the taxpayer file or pay a return late. Now, the law requires the Department of Revenue to assess a 9% late penalty if the tax due on the return filed by a taxpayer is not paid by the due date. Late penalties of 19 to 29% proceed as follows. 19% penalty due after the last day of the month following the return's due date. 29% penalty due after the last day of the second month following the return's due date. Note, the minimum penalty for late payment is $5. Penalty waiver. So Department of Revenue has the authority to waive delinquent or late return penalties under limited circumstances. When the underpayment of tax or the failure to pay any tax by the due date happened because circumstances beyond the taxpayer control. When a taxpayer has filed and paid on time all tax return required for 20 months prior to the period in question, the department has the authority to waive a penalty, even if the late filing was not the result of a circumstance beyond the taxpayer's control. This is only available for one return within 24-month period. How do you request a penalty waiver? If your return payment is late and you feel you have a qualifying situation, you may request consideration for a penalty waiver. You should submit a request in writing with a late return and tax payment. If you file electronically, there is a box to check to request a penalty waiver. You may also contact them to request a penalty waiver by mailing a letter or sending a secure message. Note, the taxpayer has the burden of proving that the penalty waiver request is valid. Again, remember that if you register your business in Washington State, you are required to file a B&O tax return. If your gross income is zero, whether it's monthly, quarterly, or annual, then you're going to report no business income. It's very important to keep track of your income because your B&O tax return is dependent on your bookkeeping. If your bookkeeping is inaccurate, then your tax return will be inaccurate. Make sure you track all your income and reconcile your accounts to file an accurate B&O tax return. If you have any questions, we do provide one-on-one coaching via Zoom. You can book that online. I will put the link below. Next month will be about hiring employees. Thank you for watching. Make sure that you like, comment, share, and save these videos. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel.